goods on his shoulders, stopped to rest from the heat of the day beneath a shelter where a large stone Buddha was standing. There he fell asleep, and when he awoke, his goods had disappeared. He immediately reported the matter to the police. A judge named Ooka opened court to investigate. That stone Buddha must have stolen the goods, concluded the judge. He is supposed to care for the welfare of the people, but he has failed to perform his holy duty. Arrest him. The police arrested the stone Buddha and carried it into court. A noisy crowd followed the statue, curious to learn what kind of sentence the judge was about to impose. When Ooka appeared on the bench, he rebuked the boisterous audience. What right have you people to appear before the court laughing and joking in this manner? You are in contempt of court and subject to a fine and imprisonment. The people hastened to apologize. I shall have to impose a fine on you, said the judge, but I will remit it, provided each one of you brings one roll of cotton goods to the courts within 3 days. Anyone failing to do this will be arrested. One of the rolls of cloth which the people brought was quickly recognized by the merchant as his own, and thus the thief was easily discovered. The merchant recovered his goods, and the cotton rolls were returned to the people. Once a division of the Japanese army was engaged in a sham battle, and some of the officers found it necessary to make their headquarters in Gasan's temple. Gasan told his cook, "Let the officers have only the same simple fare we eat." This made the army men angry, as they were used to very deferential treatment. One came to Gasan and said, "Who do you think we are? We are soldiers, sacrificing our lives for our country. Why don't you treat us accordingly?" Gasan answered sternly, "Who do you think we are? We are soldiers of humanity, aiming to save all sentient beings." Zenkai, the son of a samurai, journeyed to Edo and there became the retainer of a high official. He fell in love with the official's wife and was discovered. In self-defense, he slew the official, then he ran away with the wife. Both of them later became thieves, but the woman was so greedy that Zenkai grew disgusted. Finally, leaving her, he journeyed far away to the province of Buzen, where he became a wandering mendicant. To atone for his past, Zenkai resolved to accomplish some good deed in his lifetime. Knowing of a dangerous road over a cliff that had caused the death and injury of many persons, he resolved to cut a tunnel through the mountain there. Begging food in the daytime, Zenkai worked at night digging his tunnel. When 30 years had gone by, the tunnel was 2,280 feet long, 20 feet high, and 30 feet wide. 2 years before the work was completed, the son of the official he had slain, who was a skillful swordsman, found Zenkai out and came to kill him in revenge. "I will give you my life willingly," said Zenkai. "Only let me finish this work. On the day it is completed, then you may kill me." So the son awaited the day. Several months passed and Zenkai kept on digging. The son grew tired of doing nothing and began to help with the digging. After he had helped for more than a year, he came to admire Zenkai's strong will and character. At last, the tunnel was completed, and the people could use it to travel in safety. "Now cut off my head," said Zenkai. "My work is done." "How can I cut off my own teacher's head?" asked the younger man, with tears in his eyes. A great Japanese warrior named Nobunaga decided to attack the enemy, although he had only 1/10 the number of men the opposition commanded. He knew that he would win, but his soldiers were in doubt. On the way, he stopped at a Shinto shrine and told his men, "After I visit the shrine, I will toss a coin. If heads comes, we will win. If tails, we will lose. Destiny holds us in her hand." Nobunaga entered the shrine and offered a silent prayer. He came forth and tossed a coin. Heads appeared. His soldiers were so eager to fight that they won their battle easily. "No one can change the hand of destiny," his attendant told him after the battle. "Indeed not," said Nobunaga, showing a coin which had been doubled, with heads facing either way. Gasan instructed his adherents one day, "Those who speak against killing, and who desire to spare the lives of all conscious beings, are right. It is good to protect even animals and insects. But what about those persons who kill time? What about those who are destroying wealth and those who destroy political economy? We should not overlook them. Furthermore, what of the one who preaches without enlightenment? He is killing Buddhism." A young wife fell sick and was about to die. I love you so much, she told her husband. I do not want to leave you. Do not go from me to any other woman. If you do, I will return as a ghost and cause you endless trouble. Soon the wife passed away. The husband respected her last wish for the first 3 months, but then he met another woman and fell in love with her. They became engaged to be married. Immediately after the engagement, a ghost appeared every night to the man, blaming him for not keeping his promise. The ghost was clever, too. She told him exactly what had transpired between himself and his new sweetheart. Whenever he gave his fiancée a present, the ghost would describe it in detail. She would even repeat conversations, and it so annoyed the man that he could not sleep. Someone advised him to take his problem to a Zen master who lived close to the village. At length, in despair, the poor man went to him for help. Your former wife became a ghost and knows everything you do, commented the master. Whatever you do or say, whatever you give your beloved, she knows. She must be a very wise ghost. Really, you should admire such a ghost. The next time she appears, bargain with her. Tell her that she knows so much you can hide nothing from her, and that if she will answer you one question, you promise to break your engagement and remain single. What is the question I must ask her? Inquired the man. The master replied, take a large handful of soybeans and ask her exactly how many beans you hold in your hand. If she cannot tell you, you will know she is only a figment of your imagination and will trouble you no longer. The next night, when the ghost appeared, the man flattered her and told her that she knew everything. Indeed, replied the ghost, and I know you went to see that Zen master today. And since you know so much, demanded the man, tell me how many beans I hold in this hand. There was no longer any ghost to answer the question. Yamaoka Teshu was a tutor of the emperor. He was also a master of fencing and a profound student of Zen. His home was the abode of vagabonds. He had but one suit of clothes, for they kept him always poor. The emperor, observing how worn his garments were, gave Yamaoka some money to buy new ones. The next time Yamaoka appeared, he wore the same old outfit. What became of the new clothes, Yamaoka asked the emperor. I provided clothes for the children of your majesty, explained Yamaoka. In modern times, a great deal of nonsense is talked about masters and disciples, and about the inheritance of a master's teaching by favorite pupils, entitling them to pass the truth on to their adherents. Of course, Zen should be imparted in this way from heart to heart, and in the past it was really accomplished. Silence and humility reigned rather than profession and assertion. The one who received such a teaching kept the matter hidden even after 20 years. Not until another discovered through his own need that a real master was at hand was it learned that the teaching had been imparted. And even then the occasion arose quite naturally, and the teaching made its way in its own right. Under no circumstance did the teacher even claim, I am the successor of so-and-so. Such a claim would prove quite the contrary. The Zen master, Munan, had only one successor. His name was Shoju. After Shoju had completed his study of Zen, Munan called him into his room. I'm getting old, he said. And as far as I know, Shoju, you are the only one who will carry on this teaching. Here's a book. It has been passed down from master to master for 7 generations. I also have added many points according to my understanding. The book is very valuable, and I'm giving it to you to represent your successorship. If the book is such an important thing, you had better keep it, Shoju replied. I received your Zen without writing, and I'm satisfied with it, as it is. I know that, said Munan. Even so, this work has been carried from master to master for 7 generations, so you may keep it as a symbol of having received the teaching. Here. The two happened to be talking before a brazier. The instant Shoju felt the book in his hands, he thrust it into the flaming coals. He had no lust for possessions. Munan, who never had been angry before, yelled, What are you doing? Shoju shouted back, What are you saying? After Kakuwa visited the emperor, he disappeared and no one knew what became of him. He was the first Japanese to study Zen in China, but since he showed nothing of it, save one note, he is not remembered for having brought Zen into his country. Kakuwa visited China and accepted the true teaching. He did not travel while he was there. Meditating constantly, he lived on a remote part of a mountain. Whenever people found him and asked him to preach, he would say a few words and then move to another part of the mountain where he could be found less easily. The emperor heard about Kakuwa when he returned to Japan and asked him to preach Zen for his edification and that of his subjects. Kakuwa stood before the emperor in silence. He then produced a flute from the folds of his robe and blew one short note. Bowing politely, he disappeared. Circumstances arose one day which delayed preparation of the dinner of a Soto Zen master, Fugai, and his followers. In haste, the cook went to the garden with his curved knife and cut off the tops of green vegetables, chopped them together, and made soup, unaware that in his haste he had included part of a snake in the vegetables. The followers of Fugai thought they never had tasted such a good soup. But when the master himself found the snake's head in his bowl, he summoned the cook. "What is this?" he demanded, holding up the head of the snake. "Oh, thank you, master," replied the cook, taking the morsel and eating it quickly. Sozan, a Chinese Zen master, was asked by a student, "What is the most valuable thing in the world?" The master replied, "The head of a dead cat." "Why is the head of a dead cat the most valuable thing in the world?" inquired the student. Sozan replied, "Because no one can name its price." The pupils of the Tendai school used to study meditation before Zen entered Japan. 4 of them, who were intimate friends, promised one another to observe 7 days of silence. On the first day, all were silent. Their meditation had begun auspiciously. But when night came and the oil lamps were growing dim, one of the pupils could not help exclaiming to a servant, "Fix those lamps." The second pupil was surprised to hear the first one talk. "We're not supposed to say a word," he remarked. "You two are stupid. Why did you talk?" asked the third. "I'm the only one who has not talked," concluded the fourth pupil. Zen pupils take a vow that even if they are killed by their teacher, they intend to learn Zen. Usually they cut a finger and seal their resolution with blood. In time, the vow has become a mere formality, and for this reason, a pupil who died by the hand of Aikido was made to appear a martyr. Aikido had become a severe teacher. His pupils feared him. One of them, on duty striking the gong to tell the time of day, missed his beats when his eye was attracted by a beautiful girl passing the temple gate. At that moment, Aikido, who was directly behind him, hit him with a stick, and the shock happened to kill him. The pupil's guardian, hearing of the accident, went directly to Aikido. Knowing that he was not to blame, he praised the master for his severe teaching. Aikido's attitude was just the same as if the pupil were still alive. After this took place, he was able to produce under his guidance more than 10 enlightened successors, a very unusual number. Ryokan devoted his life to the study of Zen. One day he heard that his nephew, despite the admonitions of relatives, was spending his money on a courtesan. Inasmuch as the nephew had taken Ryokan's place in managing the family estate and the property was in danger of being dissipated, the relatives asked Ryokan to do something about it. Ryokan had to travel a long way to visit his nephew, whom he had not seen for many years. The nephew seemed pleased to meet his uncle again and invited him to remain overnight. All night, Ryokan sat in meditation. As he was departing in the morning, he said to the young man, "I must be getting old. My hand shakes, so will you help me tie the string of my straw sandal?" The nephew helped him willingly. "Thank you," finished Ryokan. "You see, a man becomes older and feebler day by day. Take good care of yourself." Then Ryokan left, never mentioning a word about the courtesan or the complaints of the relatives. But from that morning on, the dissipations of the nephew ended. A Zen student came to Bankei and complained, "Master, I have an ungovernable temper. How can I cure it?" "You have something very strange," replied Bankei. "Let me see what you have." "For just now I cannot show it to you," replied the other. "When can you show it to me?" asked Bankei. "It arises unexpectedly," replied the student. Then concluded Bankei, "It must not be your own true nature. If it were, you could show it to me at any time. When you were born, you did not have it, and your parents did not give it to you. Think that over." Hogan, a Chinese Zen teacher, lived alone in a small temple in the country. One day, 4 traveling monks appeared and asked if they might make a fire in his yard to warm themselves. While they were building the fire, Hogan heard them arguing about subjectivity and objectivity. He joined them and said, "There is a big stone. Do you consider it to be inside or outside your mind?" One of the monks replied, "In the Buddhist viewpoint, everything is an objectification of mind, so I would say that the stone is inside my mind." "Your head must feel very heavy," observed Hogan, "if you were carrying around a stone like that in your mind." A rich man asked Sengai to write something for the continued prosperity of his family so that it might be treasured from generation to generation. Sengai obtained a large sheet of paper and wrote, "Father dies, son dies, grandson dies." The rich man became angry. "I asked you to write something for the happiness of my family. Why do you make such a joke as this?" "No joke is intended," explained Sengai. "If the king knew yourself that your son should die, this would grieve you greatly. If your grandson should pass away before your son, both of you would be broken-hearted. If your family, generation after generation, passes away in equal agony, it will be the natural course of life. I call this real prosperity."
Every sunrise brings a 4 a.m. hustle.
A woman of Nagasaki named Kone was one of the few makers of incense burners in Japan. Such a burner is a work of art to be used only in a tea room or before a family shrine. Kane's father before had been such an artist who was fond of drinking. She also smoked and associated with men of power. Whenever she was able, she gave a feast inviting artists, poets, carpenters, workers, men of many vocations and avocations. And her association she evolved and designed. Kane was exceedingly slow in creating, but when her work was finished, it was always a masterpiece. Her burners were treasured in homes whose women folk never drank, smoked, or associated freely with men. The mayor of Nagasaki once requested Kane to design an incense burner for him. She delayed doing so until almost half a year had passed. At that time, the mayor, who had been promoted to office in a distant city, visited her. He urged Kane to take one up. At last, receiving the inspiration, Kane built an incense burner. After it was completed, she placed it on a table. She looked at it long. She smoked and drank before it as if it were her own company. All day she observed it. At last, picking up her hand, Kane smashed it to bits. She saw it was not the perfect creation her mind demanded. When Bankei was preaching at the Belmont Temple, the Shin priest, who believed in salvation through the repetition of the name of the Buddha of Love, was jealous of his large audience and wanted to debate with him. Bankei was in the midst of a talk when the priest appeared, but the fellow made such a disturbance that Bankei stopped his discourse and asked about the noise. "The founder of our sect," boasted the priest, "had such miraculous powers that he held a brush in his hand on one bank of the river. His attendant held up a paper on the other bank, and the teacher wrote the holy name of Amida through the air. Can you do such a wonderful thing?" Bankei replied lightly, "Perhaps your fox can perform that trick, but that is not the manner of Zen. My miracle is that when I feel hungry, I eat, and when I feel thirsty, I drink." Yamaoka Teshu, as a young student of Zen, visited one master after another. He called upon Dokuon of Shokoku. Desiring to show his attainment, he said, "The mind, Buddha, and sentient beings, after all, do not exist. The true nature of phenomena is emptiness. There is no realization, no delusion, no sage, no mediocrity. There is no giving and nothing to be received." Dokuon, who was smoking quietly, said nothing. Suddenly he whacked Yamaoka with his bamboo pipe. This made the youth quite angry. "If nothing exists," inquired Dokuon, "where did this anger come from?" Kyakujo, the Chinese Zen master, used to labor with his pupils even at the age of 80, trimming the gardens, cleaning the grounds, and pruning the trees. The pupils felt sorry to see the old teacher working so hard, but they knew he would not listen to their advice to stop, so they hid away his tools. That day the master did not eat. The next day he did not eat, nor the next. He may be angry because we have hidden his tools, the pupils surmised. We had better put them back. The day they did, the teacher worked and ate the same as before. In the evening, he instructed them. "No EQ, the Zen master, was very clever even as a boy. His teacher had a precious teacup, a rare antique. EQ happened to break this cup and was greatly perplexed. Hearing the footsteps of his teacher, he held the pieces of the cup behind him. When the master appeared, EQ asked, "Why do people have to die?" "This is natural," explained the older man. "Everything has to die and has just so long to live." EQ, producing the shattered cup, added, "It was time for your cup to die."